Hello, this is Nathan, and this is Julie, and
we started with section 21 of the Res Gestae, and so section 21 starts out with Augustus talking about how he built this temple to Mars Altar, Mars the Avenger, and how he built a theater dedicated to his adopted son Marcellus.
he funded those temples and a few others with the spoils he got from fighting his war against Mark Antony, and the spending on those buildings totaled to 100 million sesterces.
And after many victories he had from wars, he was given golden crowns from the colonies and towns, but he refused to accept any of the golden crowns and always gave them back to the towns.
And now for the textual analysis. One facet of Section 21 is Augustus spending 100 million sesterces on a bunch of temples, which are the Temple of Mars Altar, Temple of Julius, Apollo, and Vesta. His spending on these temples helps create a sense of Roman religious unity and encouraging the people to think of him as a very generous ruler.
Augustus refused all of the golden crowns he received. He was given Triginta et Quinque Millia, so he was given about 35,000 pounds, but these pounds were really more like 147 million sesterces worth of gold. And so he was given this much gold and he refused it, which shows that he is about the people. He wants to do what's best for the people. They need the money more than he does, and it just helps his reputation with the people. But it also, the fact that he's mentioning it in his Res Gestae, his will and testament, hint that he's proud of this fact. So while he refused the crowns and he doesn't want to wear them publicly or anything, he is proud of it and he wants people to remember it for generations. So he wants it to be written down that he had 147 million sesterces worth of gold crowns that he won. And so it just kind of subtly hints at what a great leader and military strategist he must have been. Section 21 of the Res Gestae starts with Augustus talking about the Mars Altar, which was built after a promise he made after the war. He and Mark Antony fought against Brutus and Cassius and the other assassins of Julius Caesar. And so, while Augustus needed Mark Antony's help in this battle, Mark Antony's name never shows up in the text, particularly because Augustus didn't want to give Mark Antony, who later became his enemy, any credit and didn't want anyone who might have supported Mark Antony or Brutus and Cassius to be reminded of them. He wanted solely to focus on Augustus, and he wanted the entire Res Gestae to be about Augustus as it should, as it's his own will.
Mars Altar, specifically, became a central military location where different military events were held and different state decisions and ceremonies were held as well. And he included this in his will, really because it reminds people of how he expanded the empire to the extent that he did, and also how he spent so much on rebuilding.
Augustus then goes on to talk about this theater that was dedicated to Marcellus. If you remember from Claudius, Marcellus was Augustus's nephew, who was particularly favored and was expected to be the heir until he was murdered by Livia. And so Augustus mentioning him in his will is kind of special because not many people actually get their names in Augustus's will, and it just shows the level of respect Augustus had for Marcellus and the love he had towards him. And then Augustus also remembers that the people were particularly fond of Marcellus. So because the people were fond of Marcellus, they'll be more fond of Augustus because Augustus dedicated this theater to Marcellus.
See, another part of the section is about Augustus's refusal of gold crowns after victories. After a battle, a Roman general would get a crown to commemorate their victory, and Augustus was really the first, he was really one of the first generals to really not accept those. So he was very unique in that aspect, and this really bolsters his reputation as being humble and a man of the people. In conclusion, Augustus really includes all of this talk of the temples and how much he spent on them and in rebuilding Rome, so that way he can remind the people that he really cares about them, and that he really is working for them, and he's not doing any of this for his own benefit, or so he wants them to think.
Now, Augustus does this because during his life he had the reputation of being a very man of the people, kind of like father of the country, and so he wants to continue that reputation on into his death, so that the reputation maybe goes on and follows his family and his descendants, and so that the Roman state, Roman Empire, remains connected, and there's a sense of unity because they have such a strong leader in Augustus. So he just wants to remind them that he is a strong leader, but he is working for them. And so the next emperor will continue to do the same and work for them, for the people.